And look, every day, homeowners across America are using one two-word lawsuit to wipe dead liens off their homes. Liens that they thought were paid, expired, or they might even be fake. And before you decide this video isn't about you and your home, let's see if you fit into one of these four categories. Because this video applies to you if, 1, you paid off a debt tied to your house and you're convinced it's done. 2, you know of a lien against you that expired and you're convinced it's gone. Or 3, a judgment against you got dismissed and you're convinced it's over. Or 4, none of that ever happened and somebody filed a claim against your house that's flat out fake. You almost assuredly don't even know it's there. So if you own a home, this video is for you. Actually, this might be the most important video you watch this year as a homeowner, because there are 2 words that can clean all of this up for you. Quiet title. It's a real lawsuit, but you don't sue a person. You sue the claim itself. And if you make the case that it doesn't belong there and the judge agrees, the court erases it for good. And yes, homeowners are doing this quietly because the lawsuit is literally called a quiet title action. And it won't go away unless you actually take that action, because nothing on a county record takes care of itself. That's the whole problem. Now, before you get all riled up, which may or may not be warranted, let's ask, how common is this really? More than 1 in 3 home sales, 36%, need real cleanup work on the title before their next deal can close. That can be a home sale, a refi, or a HELOC. That's over 1 million homes every year. And the biggest headache of all the possible liens you may find on your title, old mortgages that were paid off and never released. So if you bought your house 10, 20, 30 years ago, and you haven't sold, haven't refinanced, and haven't borrowed against it, nobody has looked at your title since. Not the county, not the bank, nobody. And here's the distinction you need up front. A claim dying and a claim coming off your record are 2 different events. The claims you know about, legally dead, but they were never buried. The ones you don't know about, well, they're not dead at all. They're waiting to wake up. So tonight, you and I, we're gonna search your record. It's free and it takes 15 minutes. And if something's there, I'll give you the 4 steps that kill it, from a small little postage stamp all the way up to the judge. Fire them in the wrong order, and you can turn a $200 fix into a $20,000 war. Fire them right, and this all just goes away, even with somebody else paying your lawyer. Think of the county record like a graveyard. A claim dies, you pay it, it expires, the case gets dismissed. But the county doesn't bury anything until somebody files the death certificate. A claim that's dead but never buried is still dead, but it's also still walking around. And we have a word for dead things that keep walking. We'll get there. Let me show you each one, because one of them might be yours, maybe more than one. So behind door number 1, you've paid off your mortgage. You probably popped some champagne, maybe burned the final statement in the backyard while shouting, "Take that, Bank of America, my soul is finally mine." The bank is now legally required to file the death certificate. It's called a satisfaction or a release, and most states give them a deadline, typically under 90 days. Florida gives them 60, and if the bank blows it and you have to sue, Florida makes the bank pay your attorney fees. Ask any title agent what delays closings every week. Mortgages paid off in 2009, never released. The homeowner did their job, the bank skipped the funeral. Now, behind door number 2, a lien or a judgment against you expired. The law put a shot clock on it, and the clock ran out years ago. Nobody ever pulled it off your page. It's not enforceable, but it's still sitting in your chain of title, waiting to confuse the next title search and stall your deal. Now, behind door number 3, a lawsuit touched your property, a contract dispute, a divorce, a contractor fight, and somebody recorded a lis pendens. That's a flag on your title that says this property is tangled in litigation. The case settled decades ago. Nobody ever removed it from your title. Your house still shows it. And then door number 4, you did nothing. Someone slipped a document into the record against your house, like a forged deed, a fabricated lien. Yeah, fraud. More common than you think. The county recorder is a filing cabinet. It's not a referee. It keeps whatever it's given, and it verifies nothing. And here's the industry's own claims data. The largest losses in title insurance came from fraud and forgery. The biggest monster in this graveyard is the one nobody buried, because nobody knew it existed. Now, what's actually at stake if you never look? Well, first you got to understand how these things surface. They're not by letter, not by phone call. A dead lien surfaces at a closing table, the day you sell, the day you refi, the day you sign for a home equity line of credit. Because a lender will not fund and a buyer cannot buy until the title comes back clean. And at that table, you have zero leverage. Your refinance sits on a rate clock, 30 days, maybe 60. If curing the cloud takes longer and hunting down a release from a bank that's been sold twice since 2009, that can take months. The lock will expire. The deal reprices or just flat out dies. If you're selling, the contract has a deadline. If you can't deliver clean title in time, in most contracts, the buyer can walk, and they do. The move near the grandkids, the retirement money, that plan doesn't get delayed, it gets killed. And the line of credit. Think about when people open one. The roof, the medical bill, the moment you need your equity fast. This is exactly the moment these things show up. A dead lien doesn't attack your house, it ambushes your plans. So let's go look at your title tonight, 15 minutes. Open your county recorder's website. Some counties call it the Register of Deeds, and search your own name and your property address. You're looking for three things. Any mortgage or deed of trust without a matching satisfaction or release recorded after it. Any document you don't recognize. Any name on your property that isn't yours. The most common find looks like this. There's your mortgage, recorded the year you bought, and there's the refi. And where the release should be, there's nothing there. You found the unburied body. And while you're on that site, many counties run a free fraud alert program that emails you the moment anything new gets recorded against your property. Sign up for that. It's 2 minutes and it costs nothing. Now, if you're thinking it's not that big of a deal and nobody actually loses a house over an unburied claim, let me show you one. This one bites. In the early 2000s, banks wrote millions of second mortgages piggybacked on top of firsts. Then 2008 happened. Those seconds went bad. Lenders charged them off and sold them to debt buyers for pennies on the dollar. Then silence for 10, 15 years. Homeowners reasonably assumed those loans died in the modification or the settlement. Well, they didn't die. These snakes sat in the bushes for a decade, watching home prices double. And the moment your house had real equity again, the phone rang. Full balance, plus 15 years of interest and fees on loans people thought had been dead since the Obama administration. They call these zombie mortgages. One morning in Quincy, Massachusetts, a homeowner looked up from her tee to find 20 cars outside and strangers on her front lawn auctioning her house over a second mortgage she thought died a decade ago. And her situation, it's not rare. NPR pulled public records and found at least 10,000 of these zombie mortgages with recent foreclosure activity in New York alone. They even got a debt buyer on tape. People think these loans were canceled, he said. Quote, "They still exist. It's not like they went away." In 2023, the CFPB, the federal consumer watchdog, warned that threatening foreclosure on mortgage debt past the statute of limitations may violate federal law. Their words for these collectors, they quote, "sat silent for a decade." Then in 2025, the CFPB was ordered to stand down. Most of its enforcement dropped, one of DOJ's unfortunate casualties. So here's my read. The referee left the field. The record check is now on you. And here's how these debt buyers make a killing. And it's important to know because this really points to their incentive. It's a big one. When federal regulators studied the debt buying market, old charged off debt sold for about 4 cents on the dollar. 4 pennies to every dollar. So a dormant $50,000 second cost a buyer roughly $2,000. They wait while you build equity, then demand $90,000. If you can't produce it, they start foreclosure on a home now worth $500,000. They're turning the change lost in your couch cushions into a weapon of mass foreclosure. That's why the phone rings. So if you searched your title and you found something, here are the 4 steps to take in this exact order because the sequence, it's important. Step 1, the demand letter. If it's a paid off loan that was never released, you don't sue anybody. You send a certified letter citing your state's satisfaction statute. Most dead liens get wiped with a simple letter like this. Maybe it takes a follow-up phone call or 2 afterwards. Step 2, your title insurance policy. If the cloud existed before you bought the house and you have an owner's policy, submit the claim. In writing, do it immediately. Their duty to defend you is generally broader than their duty to pay you, but only if you put the claim in front of them. Tender first, litigate second. Step 3, buy the claim. Sometimes this is the cheaper solution, a quick claim deed from a long-lost heir, or a small settlement traded for a recorded release. I learned this when evicting tenants. Most of the time giving them $1,000 to move is way cheaper, easier, and faster than spending the next 90 days in eviction court. This approach has worked for me in removing old liens too. One caution though, approaching a claimant shows your cards. It can wake a sleeping claim. That's a call you make with a real estate attorney, and 20 minutes with one can act as a cheap insurance policy. And step 4, the judge. The 2-word lawsuit, quiet title. You sue the claim itself. You name every person or company that could possibly hold it, and you serve every single one, formally, like your judgment depends on it. Because it does. The Supreme Court has held that cutting off someone's rights requires notice that actually reaches them. If you serve lazily, your victory can be undone years later. And if nobody shows up, and usually nobody does show up, the claim is declared dead. And if that's the case, if no one showed up, that typically runs $1,500 to $5,000 in maybe 3 to 6 months. If someone does, you're talking maybe 10 to 25 grand, which is why you probably want that attorney if you get this far. Now, after you win, the judge's signature is not the finish line. The judgment has to be recorded. The graveyard doesn't know about the burial until the death certificate is filed. The real finish line is a title insurance underwriter reading that judgment and saying, "I'll insure this house now." That's the signature that actually lets you close your deal. So here are your 2 roads. Road 1, you don't look and you take your chances. Road 2, take 15 boring minutes on a Tuesday night, read your title, and if something's there, you now know what to do. And when you're on that county website, don't log off right away. There's a second document in that same building about your same house. And this one isn't waiting for a closing to cost you money. It's costing you money right now, inside that fixed mortgage payment that somehow keeps climbing. It's the county's description of your house, the one their software uses to set your property tax bill. So while you're on that county website, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Since you'll be checking what's filed against your house, I'll show you here how to check whether or not you're paying too much for your property taxes. Better than good chance you are. God loves you, and so do I. Take care.